It's wonderful being part of your family for this experience. I'm interested to know what it was like for you, to achieve the home birth.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have you. And like after arranging everything, organizing and speaking with you without meeting you, like to finally come, it wasn't so many days before the birth actually, although we did wait, but it was all put into place exactly as it's supposed to be. You always expect when you plan something that it's maybe not that ideal, that it won't turn out to be so magical, but in the end it was perfect, and like I said, it was even more than I expected.
So how was it magical? What were the things you really enjoyed? If you can, enjoy labour and a birth.
It was uninterrupted, so the first thing is you don't have to think about where you are, the timing, okay, now I have to go to the hospital. You are where you are, and you just let it flow. Yeah. You're with the people you choose. There are no changes in face, changes in place.
Yeah.
You're surrounded with the ones you love. You don't have to think about it. Even the children, they are there. They don't have to be there. They will choose if they will be there. It's not directed. So in the hospital, they direct you. Now the husband enters. Okay, now the husband leaves. Everything is directed, not just the woman.
It's good to hear these contrasts, because there's a lot of lack of control for a woman in a hospital. Yeah. Whereas at home, I observed you to have control.
Yeah, but I didn't feel it as control. I just felt it as letting go. And actually, I felt that you were in control in terms of worrying.
Okay, that's my job, to worry.
Yeah, I was just there to let go and to feel confident and to, for example, also not just this birth, but manage all the mistakes from the previous births. So if I had lack of confidence in my previous births, now I regained it, and it made all the previous births better. So if I didn't believe in myself, if I believed in this birth, it actually fixes the wounds in the previous births as well.
Fixes the wounds is powerful. Mistakes has two meanings for people. Sometimes it's seen as a negative, but if we look at the word miss and take, it's to do something again and probably do it in a different way.
In a better way, and give your best, and that was the point as well. So it was the forced birth. I always say it took us time as a family, as a couple, to evolve to a home birth. It took us 4 births, but the first 3 were also a journey towards it. I wish that for other women that they can have a home birth with their first, with their second. It doesn't have to evolve for everybody. It was our story. But also with the previous ones, they were also changing. So they were hospital births, but each time we would do something a bit different.
I'm at the births for women having their first babies at home. One of the common themes women tell me is they have to do their inner work. You're welcome to be in the picture if you want to sit here. Right? That women have to do their work. What kind of internal work do you think women need to do, or did you need to do?
In the home birth?
Yeah, do you have to go through some things?
I don't know, when it's your first birth as a home birth, I think you have, though maybe it's my prejudice, but the least work to do. So because you just have to go with the flow. I had to change my way of thinking. If I was in the hospital feeling discouraged, I had to work on that. So now I have no reason to feel discouraged. Everything is within me. If I had a sense of lack of control, I have to put it back together. So you are in control. So it's actually just fixing the mistakes of previous births and growing from it.
And just tell us, how did Mustafa come out? What did you do that was different with this birth that you were able?
A lot. I was not thinking about my environment. So every previous birth, I was actually very aware. Who was around me? What might they do? Is somebody stressed? Will they hurry me up? Do I have to hurry up in order to, I don't know, keep the staff happy?
Yeah.
So the baby should go quick enough so everybody's happy and no interventions come in place. So with Mustafa, I was just thinking about him, and I was it was just me and him. I wasn't aware of anything else. I was aware of Elmir holding my hand, and basically just that.
And how was it for your husband to be included at a home birth? Is that different from his previous experiences?
It is. I think I am traumatized with my previous births, but I think, although we didn't discuss it, that the partners are as well, and they don't talk about it.
Yeah.
So he was present on the first birth, which, as I said, was directed. The husband comes in, now you go out. He couldn't do much. He was also directed how to help me, what to do. And on this, the other births, the second and third, he didn't want to even be there. So it was a good enough sign that the thinking about birth wasn't going in a good direction with him. So it was kind of a horror story, and then you have a new addition to the family, which shouldn't happen.
And you said you were traumatized, so probably he was traumatized.
Yeah, and we
Maybe
didn't
there's
talk
an effect
about
on
it.
the babies.
Yes, it did have effect on parenting, on the first child especially. But now,
And with this birth,
there was also a flow. So the baby came, the siblings accepted the baby because they saw it coming. There was no interruption whatsoever, nothing traumatic, and it was only positive emotions. Like I said, euphoria. We were excited the whole day, and we were with ourselves. So there wasn't anybody.
we were with ourselves.
Yeah.
I think that is what I'm learning, to be with myself, to be the space, not holding the space, but be the space. And if we are with ourselves, everybody does what they need to do.
Yeah.
So I saw one woman helping you in one way, another woman helping another way, your children, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, also helping you in different ways, but they were with themselves.
Yeah, and I love how they see.
And your husband the same.
How they see how you can help. For example, Bilal, he brought the aromatherapy oils. Like he saw that it's helpful for some reason, so he brought them along.
And so afterwards for your husband, it looks like a very beautiful experience. That's my observation. And he looks very peaceful and happy.
Yeah, he does. And he said it's such a difference, like to have this baby come in the house without you actually bringing a new child.
Yeah.
And I think it's, I was always thinking it in terms of siblings, like how will they expect the new baby, because you bring it home. But actually it's a big deal for the parents as well, because you leave the hospital, you're pregnant, you leave the home, you're pregnant, and you come back from the hospital with a child. So
just for the sake of this little interview, if we mentioned about human rights, women need midwives to provide for their choices. They have the right to have a birth where they choose and how they choose. Article 8, the right to private and family life of the United Nations Convention. But the reality is very difficult if there's no midwives. So how, any
it's
ideas?
almost impossible. Yeah, I can. It's obviously manageable, but we've spent the whole pregnancy, so 9 months, we are
searching.
We are organizing ourselves. It's a time-consuming, energy-consuming, financial burden. It's all upon the family. If you had it in terms of something that goes along legally speaking, you would either have, I don't know, the health system cover the part of arranging a midwife. They will have a list of midwives. We had to search for a midwife ourselves.
So in many countries, if the woman pays the midwife, the insurance company or the national health insurance will refund either part or all of the money to the woman. That's the situation.
Well, it's not just, for example, in Bosnia, it's not just in terms of paying for the service, because I think paying, there are private hospitals, private births happening, and people do pay for them. But for example, I had to import a service. I had to import your services.
So the whole of this country doesn't have a home birth midwife?
No, that can an independent one that can do home births.
And I know one town in Austria, they have 15 independent midwives in one town.
Wow.
And then in Slovenia there's 2 or 3 for the whole country. In this country, none. Croatia?
I think also none, regarding their chamber of midwives, so they're not allowed to have independent work.
And you think Serbia?
Serbia is, I think, also there is the one midwife that does do. but generally speaking, they're not organized, and none of them will willingly go into this thing. If it's legal or not, will they be?
And the big contrast, New Zealand has almost 50% of the midwives are independent and can be doing home birth.
That's wonderful. I think midwives should be independent without saying so.
And Netherlands, similar. It's just normal.
Yeah.
And many of the obstetricians are having home births, so they're all very familiar with it.
Well, I mean, what does independent midwife mean? It means you have a dependent midwife.
I never thought of that. So the dependent ones are employed in the system in the hospital, but actually independent ones go and work in the hospitals for a while. It might suit their family life, and then even the hospital ones will take a turn to come out and be independent.
Yeah.
But the money is with the woman, so they're not employed.
But yeah, independent also, I mean, the midwife has her knowledge, her skills, and wherever she goes, she's even in the hospital setting, she should have her own.
Yeah. Hopefully all midwives are whole
Professional
midwives.
choices.
Some midwives choose to work in postnatal with breastfeeding and they specialise in that. And they might not have done birth for 10, 20, 30 years. But hopefully most midwives are dealing with everything to some extent. It's inevitable that people will specialise.
Hopefully we will have independent midwives, but I think it's too long a wait. I don't know if we're coming 10 years, 20 or 30.
Okay.
But sometimes that kind of change, I have 2 daughters, I don't want to just wait for the change to happen by itself. And it does never happen by itself. People should really put pressure and effort to change it.
So pressure to change it, but also maybe legal challenge and education. And you're doing a legal challenge.
And speaking out, like changing.
Is that social media?
It is. Mostly now it's the most powerful way of having a critical mass of women primarily. So when for example, when birth plans weren't a thing in hospitals, but they're becoming, because women send each other templates. This is what a birth plan is, and then you can see actually that the women are bringing the change to hospitals, and the medical staff has to has to change in a way, even if it's a shift in attitude, but they have to reorganize. Okay, we're getting these birth plans, what to do now, how to address them, how to treat them. The first women that would, for example, bring in birth plans, they wouldn't even look at it. It was not worthy. Now it's like, okay, again, another
There's
one.
always a tipping point, because I remember that in the UK, birth plans were a new thing. They would throw them out the window, and they would say it's almost an invitation not to have what's on the birth plan.
Discrimination, an invitation for discrimination. So I think in terms of home births, legally speaking, I've asked the institutions to provide me a home birth because it was a mission impossible. We knew we would get denied. But I would love for every woman who plans a home birth just to go through that additional step in sending.
To challenge the system.
Yeah.
Challenge or invite the system.
And that would be a good feedback. Like, how many women are there who are planning a home birth?
I also remember women coming to one hospital saying, well, the neighbouring hospital does water birth, so why don't you do it? And that put pressure on that hospital, and then they provided it.
Yeah, and the statistics and the feedback. And Croatia, for example, has statistics for each and every hospital. It's not a thing here yet. So we have one general statistics for the whole maternity sector, and you can point out
so
anybody.
We don't know how many epidurals, perhaps.
And those are, we have broader statistics, so not many. I don't think they have for VBACs, for episiotomies.
Right, but is episiotomy routine here?
Yes.
So probably 90% are having them?
More than 50%. I think for first-time mothers, it's around 70% with our questionnaires that we've done among mothers. But it's such a high rate.
Would you like to hold the camera and come in a bit closer? You can pick it up. Okay.
Rosemary, zijn sneemash.
She wants to be involved, and we can just about finish. But this can be part of it.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. You can come closer if you like. Yay! Get Mama. So that's our podcast. We're just sharing ideas. Welcome any comments, questions, ideas. This is a very informal approach, and yeah. Thank you, Amira.
We should be speaking about this more often.
Yeah, we're just opening the doors to trust birth, trust life.
And this is your first visit to Bosnia, right?
First of many.
Hopefully, yeah.
It feels very homely and such a welcome.
Yeah.
Everybody's friendly and helpful here.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see Mustafa when he's a little older, see the child that he is.
Yeah, we'll visit.
Okay, that's it from us.
Bye.
Thank you.